What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Got some news out for Daniel Jacobs. His next opponent will be Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It'll be a fight that takes place at 168 pounds. It will be on the DAZN app, December 13th. Don't have a venue yet, but they're looking at Las Vegas. They're looking at California, Texas, and New York. Those are the places they're looking at right now, but they don't have a venue confirmed yet. But the fight is slated to take place December 13th. That'll be on a Friday. As you know, that'll be the day before the December 14th, which will have Terrence Crawford versus Edgigas Kavalauskas, as I butcher his name, a.k.a. the Green Machine. They'll be fighting on the 14th at Madison Square Garden, and that fight will take place with Teofimo Lopez versus Richard Commey will be the co-main event, and then Fox will have a card on December 14th too. So it's going to be a lot of boxing that weekend, man, as everybody getting ready for the holidays, opening up them gifts on Christmas, man. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of crowd they have where they're, at for that fight, and what kind of numbers that DAZN would do for that fight. But they have a name in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He has a name that can, well, hopefully, if you're DAZN, will draw your subscriptions up. So we'll see, man. Daniel Jacobs is this is a fight that he should look good in. Julio Cesar Chavez has had problems with weight issues, being focused, not taking the sport serious, and it'd be interesting to see if he'll be able to make 168. Even if he does, will he be weight drained? Because the guy just is not dedicated to the sport, man. That was his problem when he fought Canelo. He had to make 164. That fight was at a catch weight, and he was able to make that weight, but he was a walking zombie in that fight. Didn't have anything to bring to the table to give Canelo Alvarez any kind of problems. As Canelo pretty much beat him from pillar to post. And he basically was a punching bag in that fight. So this is a fight four more pounds more than that fight was. That fight was, what, 2 years ago, somewhere in there? That was before he fought Triple G. So that fight took place around 2 years ago. I think it was 2017. So it'll be interesting to see what he does, what he has left in the tank, man. But it's a name, and that's what it's a fight that Daniel Jacobs needs to look good in. I would think after he defeats Chavez, he'll be looking for a big fight. They got some good names out there. You got Callum Smith if he gets by John Ryder. You got Billy Joe Saunders. He's got a fight November the 19th on the undercard of the KS1 Circus Show. If he gets by that fight, I don't know if that's a mandatory or whatever it is. It's going to be a top guy at the WBO, in the WBO. So if he gets by there, that could be a potential opponent for Daniel Jacobs. You got Demetrius Andrade. He's sitting out there looking crazy, wondering who he gonna fight next. Waiting on a Canelo payday. Canelo ain't paying him no mind. And he's hoping and praying that Canelo maybe one day might fight him. But maybe that could be a fight that could be made. Even though Demetrius Andrade, he out here on the speaking like Sean Porter and Terrence Crawford. He's talking about he don't want to fight Daniel Jacobs. That's his buddy. That's his good friend. That's his ace boom cool. You know what I'm saying? He don't want to fight him, but it's all about making money, man. It's all about putting on fights that the fans want to see, man. That'd be a good fight, man. Andrade against Jacobs. You can put that fight on the East Coast somewhere. I think Andrade is from Rhode Island, and Jacobs is from the boroughs of Brooklyn. You can put that fight in Madison Square Garden. You can put that fight somewhere on the East Coast somewhere. You can put that in D.C., split the difference between Rhode Island and New York, maybe put it in D.C., Philadelphia, just that fight, whatever it takes place, it deserves to be on the East Coast, so maybe they can make that fight. Maybe they can both put their great friendship aside and make that fight happen. We'll see what transpire. But as far as Chavez Jr. goes, man, I don't see him putting up with too much of a test for Jacobs, man. I just don't think he got too much left in the tank, man. Even when he was at his best, he wasn't that good. You know what I'm saying? He just wasn't that good, man. He was a guy that used his size and weight to beat a lot of fighters. He was able to make them weights when he was a little bit younger. He was able to cut that weight, and it didn't really affect his performance, as he was able to beat I think he beat Fonfara. Beat him. That probably might have been his best victory, beating Fonfara. Beat him, beat Rubio. He beat some good guys out there. Don't get me wrong. He fought some good guys because of his name. He got in there with some good guys he beat. But then he got beat every round but the last round against Sergio. a skilled technician. Got beat by him, dropped him in the 12th round, and Sergio was never the same after that 12th round knockdown. You know, he had problems with his knees and just wasn't the same fighter. Wasn't as fresh, wasn't as potent after that fight. So he did drop him when he was arguably the best fighter in boxing. Him and Mayweather and Pacquiao, them were the three top pound for pound fighters that were mentioned at that time. So he was got in the ring with him and got beat. And like I said, was able to drop him. So give him credit for that. But after that, man, it was downhill as he was having problems making weight and being disappointment in fights and wasn't living up to his daddy's name and legacy. So we'll see what happens, man. Maybe he'll be able to make the 168. If he can make the 168, maybe he'll try to use what he did back in the days, you know, when he was younger, use his weight and try to bully Jacobs on the ropes and go to the body like his daddy did, and you know, and like he did at a good. Give him credit too. You know, he was a pretty decent body puncher. You know, 5-6 years ago. Maybe he can recapture that and go to the body and try to slow Jacobs down, to use his size and weight to try to slow him down, because he should be coming in as the bigger fighter on fight night, and try to use that to his advantage and hope that Daniel Jacobs maybe looking past him, which I doubt. I think Daniel's going to be focused on trying to get a win after a disappointing performance against Canelo Alvarez. He'll be looking to try to get a win to get back on track and get back in a big fight. So we'll see what happens, man. Looking for Danny to beat him. Only outcome that I wonder about is it going to be a decision, or will Daniel Jacobs be able to stop Chavez? And that'll be I think he would need to stop Chavez. Maybe, you know, if not knock him out, you know, make them throw in the towel and make the referee jump in and wait to fight out. He needs that type of performance. Because when you're fighting a guy that's not elite and a guy that's not on your level, you got to get that guy out of there. You can't be going the distance with Chavez Jr. I know a lot of people say, wait a minute, JBsports, Canelo Alvarez went the distance with him. Yeah, Canelo Alvarez went the distance with him, but Canelo Alvarez was the much smaller fighter. You know, at that time, Canelo Alvarez was coming up from what, 154? And, you know, Chavez was a much bigger guy. Jacobs is more closer to his size, even though I think Chavez probably is going to end up being a bigger guy on fight night. Jacobs is a naturally bigger guy than Canelo. So his power and his punches that Canelo couldn't get Chavez Jr. out of there with his punches, because he didn't have the power at 164 that he had at 154 or 160. He didn't have that power, at least, to hurt Chavez Jr. Jacobs is the more naturally bigger guy. So he should be able to sit down on some of his punches and, if not knock out Chavez Jr., at least, you know, get the fight stopped, you know. Land some stuff that can hurt Chavez, and you jump on him, throw enough combination, he can't respond to him. Maybe the referee jumps in and stops it, or maybe his corner waves it off. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But that's the date that's the date there for them slated to fight. It's December 13th on the DAZN, and the only thing we're waiting on is where the fight's going to take place. Like I said, some of the places they're mentioning are Las Vegas, New York, Texas, and California. So it should be in one of those spots, as Chavez Jr. has a huge following. He is the draw in this fight. Don't make no mistake about it. Jacobs is a better fighter and should display that on fight night, but Chavez is a name, and that's why the DAZN got him in this, fighting Jacobs. They're looking to upgrade their subscriptions. That's what they're all about. That's the reason why they bought Chavez fighting Jacob. That's the reason why they got KS1 versus Logan. It's all in the name of upgrading their subscription. They're trying to get their subscriptions going up, getting high, increasing. That's what they're looking to take place. So we'll see. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.